Hey, good morning, everyone. I pray that you all are doing well. I pray you all are having a blessed week so far. I pray that your week is productive. And thank you once again for joining us on Morning Motivation. Today, we are continuing our discussion about problem solving. And yesterday, we talked about the first step in problem solving, and that was define the problem. We talked about how it is very important to define exactly what the problem is. That way, you know what exactly you are addressing. So today, the next step in the problem solving process is generate solutions because um, in every problem that you have, every situation, you definitely need solutions. So today we're going to talk about generating solutions. And so first, here's where I want to start today. Today I want to start with, let's go to the scripture. Scripture says in Philippians 4:6-7, it says this: do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your request to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Jesus Christ. So I selected this scripture for a reason because this is where you want to start in every situation, in every problem that you're facing. You want to start with going to God in prayer and talk to God about the situation, especially in this stage when you're looking at solutions, because you want to you want God's you want God's advice, God's direction in helping you to find solutions to the problems that you have in your life. Because ultimately, in Christians, we are following God, and there are going to be situations in our life. We're going to face trials and tribulations, problems, issues, challenges, and we want God in the midst of all of those situations with us, so that we will have better guidance and we will be going in his direction. So the first step that we need to do is that we need to go to God in prayer and ask God, talk to God about your problem, talk to God about your situation, talk to God about your challenge so that he can help you through. So once you have spoken with God, then you take on the responsibility of finding solutions. And the best thing to do for me is that you get your team involved. What I found from experience is that when you get your team involved with the solutions to your problem, you have better buy-in from them. Too many times leaders go out there and they try to solve the problems themselves. And what happens is when it's time to implement the solution, the team can kind of rebel. They can kind of be a little standoffish, and they can sometimes not be on board with the solution. And what I've found from personal experience in many different situations is that when you involve your team in the solution process, one, you get a diversity of ideas, you get a better understanding of how the solution can be implemented. But most important, you get the buy-in, because everyone likes to be a part of the team. And when you exclude people from the problem solving stage, what you're doing is you're basically pushing them out, and they feel like you're ignoring them, that you don't value their opinions. So in all situations, whether it's if you're looking at family issues, if you're looking at business issues, if you're looking at church issues, when you involve your team, you get so much more creativity. You get people thinking outside the box. And you also definitely, you're showing your team that you care, you value them, you value their opinions, you value what they bring to the table in sitting down and asking them to help you solve this problem that is going on. So now, you've prayed, you got your team together. Next step is this: is you just want to just start throwing out ideas and kind of do just a brain dump of and be creative. How can I solve this issue? You know, Recently with the play that we did, we had issues that came up, we had problems that come up. And so off sometimes I sat down with my team, off other times I sat down with my wife, and we looked at the situation. And once we identified exactly what the problem was, we threw out ideas and solutions to what could potentially solve the problem. And so that's what you want to do, just a brain dump of throwing out ideas. And what I want you to do in this process is think outside the box, be creative, and ask yourself this question: what would happen if? What would happen if we did this? What would happen if we did that? And you will be surprised at how many more ideas that you will come up with, because the last thing you want is to sit down to address the problem and you only come up with one solution. To me, one solution is not a choice. So get out as many ideas as possible. And when you're dealing with your team, allow your team to throw out their ideas, because many times the problem revolves around something that they are doing or something that impacts them. And so when it comes to the solution, sometimes as leaders, we are pulled away from things and we're not in the day-to-day operations. And the people actually on the ground in the trenches doing the work day to day, they are the ones that have the most experience with what is actually going on. So you want to value their opinion, because at a higher level, you may think this solution is great. Oh, they can just work longer hours. And then the people on that are actually doing the work, they have a different opinion, because they may have ideas on how to do things faster, quicker, more efficiently without going to working longer hours. And so you want to value their opinion, and you want to allow everyone an opportunity in the room to speak their opinion and to give some possible solutions. And you write down the solutions. Then also another thing in um, generating solutions, look to mentors that you may have. You always want to seek wise counsel. Scripture tells us that we need to be seeking wise counsel. So think about the people around you, your mentors, even folks who you may not know, who you see on TV or on the internet. They may have dealt with similar situations and can provide advice by going out to YouTube and doing a search or something like that. For example, for me, how this worked is, before I started producing the play, I went out to a mentor, and it was a local pastor. And I knew that they may not have done exactly what I was trying to do as far as a play theater production. However, they have plenty of experience in running events and um, organizing people and leading people and getting things done. And so what was very helpful is sitting down and asking some questions. Hey, here's the project that I'm looking at. What advice do you have? And so they were able to guide me through the process and bring some things to my attention that helped me avoid some problems. And then when I had some problems, going back to them, they were able to provide some more information to help me get through the past, through the problems, and to basically come up with the right solution. So you want to tap into that. You have mentors around you, and reach out to those people, because even though they may not have done necessarily what exactly you are doing, they have probably had experience in an area that's very similar to that, especially problem solving. Leaders at all levels have dealt with problems. And so if you're able to tap into that resource of a mentor that has leadership experience or has experience anywhere near the realm where you are addressing your problems or your challenges, that is a great resource that you want to tap into. And so with that, also thinking outside the box, we mentioned that. Don't think of things, just straight on, but you want to be creative and allow the people that are in your team to be creative and get everybody's opinion. Because here's what I know from experience with working in equal opportunity, that when you have diversity within your workplace, you are able to gain the knowledge, you're able to gain some wisdom from the backgrounds of people that have different backgrounds, different cultures, different ways of viewing things, different personalities, even different religions, different ways of life, different ages, different generations. And so when you bring diversity into the fold, when you bring diversity into solving problems and looking for solutions to problems, you get a much wider range of solutions and possibilities, because looking at things always from the same perspective is always going to lead you kind of with the same solutions. But when you talk to someone recently out of college, you're going to get one. You're going to get one viewpoint. If you talk to someone who is close to retiring from the workforce, you get another. When you talk to someone who's been a grandfather, someone who's been a parent, you think someone who's been a mom or a dad or someone who has traveled the world. You get different experiences. And so that's what you want your team to bring in, that diversity of thought, because what's going to happen is ultimately, and we're talking kind of from a business sense now, but what you're going to see is that you are going to be able to reach a broader range of customers by having more diversity on your team, diversity of thought, because you will have better solutions to your problems. So as we wrap up things for today, yesterday, once again, we defined the problem. We have to be very specific to the problem. That way we know what we're addressing. Today, we are generating solutions. And the key takeaways here that I want to emphasize to you: first, go to God in prayer. Ask for God's help in all things that you do. Then bring your team together so that you can have buy-in, and do a brain dump so that you can get all possible solutions out there. So the diversity that's in your team is going to help you better create solutions. And then always seek wise counsel. Reach out to those mentors in your life and ask them the questions. Go out to YouTube and find people who have done things that you have done before. Things that you're trying to do. Go out and reach out to people who have done these things before so you can see what they did. Because I heard this saying a long time ago, that success leaves clues. So go out there and see what people have done to become successful in the area that you're working. That way you can pull that information so you're not reinventing the wheel. And ultimately, you can get your problem solved. So once again, thank you so much for watching. I pray that you all are doing well. I pray that you're having a blessed week. Thank you for joining us for Morning Motivation. And God willing, we will see you back here again tomorrow at 8 a.m. Take care and God bless.